The Venezuelan government says 95% of voters have supported the country's claim over the Essequibo territory in neighboring Guyana in a referendum. It's not clear how Caracas will act on the results of the vote criticized by the United Nations, but many Guyanese are worried this could eventually lead to an attempt to annex the oil-rich region.
As the results are announced, celebrations break out in Venezuela's capital, Caracas. President Nicolas Maduro's government had been aggressively promoting the vote for weeks. Now he's claiming it's been an overwhelming success.
Today, the people spoke loudly and clearly. We are going to start a new, powerful phase, because now we carry the mandate of a people, we carry the voice of a people.
The non-binding referendum on Sunday reportedly had a low turnout. Venezuelans were asked if they support their country's claim over the disputed territory.
We expect to retrieve an area that for so long has been desolate, as if it didn't have any owner. But now Venezuela has said, this is ours. Move ahead with the Essequibo.
In 1899, an international tribunal transferred the ownership of Essequibo to Britain. After it left, the region stayed under the control of Britain's former colony, Guyana. Venezuela's government says the territory belongs to it, as it was within their borders during the earlier Spanish rule. Caracas stepped up its campaign after oil was discovered in Essequibo's offshore waters in 2015. In Guyana, the government rallied its supporters. President Irfan Ali downplayed the vote in Venezuela, saying the people in the territory have nothing to fear. But he couldn't hide his indignation.
Maduro takes a path that ignores the international order, that ignores the International Court of Justice, that ignores international principles of justice and dignity and honor.
It is unclear what Maduro's next move will be following the vote. But many in Guyana are afraid this could be the first step in an attempt to annex the region.
Our correspondent Oscar Schlenker is on the story and joins us now from Caracas. Oscar, the Venezuelan government is selling this as a resounding victory of their plan, but what do people in both countries make of all this?
Well, this is a historical issue, so any Venezuelan will say the Essequibo belongs to Venezuela. The fact that turnout for the referendum yesterday was the lowest we have seen in decades. It has more to do with internal political reasons. Many Venezuelans thought that just participating in the referendum would give Maduro a political advantage to justify the recently appointed electoral council. It's also relevant that this election served the government to determine how support for Maduro stands in the voting polls. This lays the ground now for the presidential campaign, and what it shows is that there is still a lot of work to do to win back support Maduro has lost along the years. For the Guyanese people, they see this dispute as a threat to what is already theirs and under their control. So I think people in both countries would seriously argue about this dispute, despite the turnout in yesterday's referendum.
This dispute, you mentioned it there, has been going on for over a century. Why did Venezuela's president make this move now, and how serious is he really about this?
Well, there are many reasons to reclaim the Essequibo. Historically, it should belong to Venezuela, but Guyana controls it for many years, and the Venezuelan government didn't further any actions to annex the territory until companies started extracting oil and gas from this area a few years ago. Most companies are from the United States and cannot do business with Venezuela due to the sanctions imposed against Nicolas Maduro's administration. So there is an added interest in putting pressure to these companies and their governments to lift the sanctions against Venezuela. And the threat of annexing a territory with these companies operating in them increases that pressure.
So, but bottom line, how realistic is it for Venezuela to take over the Essequibo?
Well, at this point, and after yesterday's low turnout in the referendum, it is unlikely this issue will escalate beyond the international courts. Now, the Venezuelan government will take this resource even though it's non-binding, to say that they have support in claiming this territory. But we'll just have to see how these international courts will respond to these allegations.
That was Oscar Schlenker from Caracas, Venezuela. Thank you.